All right, well, it sounds like we have a quorum here. How about if we kick it off? Would like to welcome all of you to a demonstration that we're going to be doing today of some of the interoperability of some of the new connections that were made for the Shakeout 2013 exercise that took place 2 weeks ago, I guess that was. Hope you all had a chance to join in and participate in the Earthquake TV. We did record the Earthquake TV. It was about 3 hours long, so it's taken a little longer to process than normal, but hopefully that will be posted up on the website Friday or over the weekend. And we'll make that announcement in the next issue of UICDS Update when that's fully ready to go. Today we're going to walk through, and Anne, if you would just slip over to the next slide, we'll go through our introductions around the country. And then Ann Rosinski, the chair of the California Earthquake Clearinghouse, is going to use the Clearinghouse application, mobile app that they use, to give you a quick overview of the Shakeout exercise and how the information ended up being processed through UICDS to a whole lot of different applications. And then we're going to take a very specific look and demonstration at some of those applications. We're going to start out with WebUC that makes some incidents. We're going to see those incidents show up on Google Earth. Then we're going to have the Next Generation Incident Command System, and it's going to make some incidents. And then we've got the virtual library that's going to say, hey, I've seen these incidents, and what I want to now do is start to collect geospatial information that's relevant to those incidents and be able to share that back out through UICDS. And then we'll take a look at how that information gets displayed up on an Esri Flex viewer. And then we'll go back to the Next Generation Incident Command System and make some very cool map notations that are made as field observations that then get shared back through UICDS. And we'll be able to see those, again, on Google Earth and on Spot On Response, the Clearinghouse's application. And then we'll conclude by going out to ArcGIS Online that is used by the California Office of Emergency Services. And we have Diane Vaughn here today from Cal OES, who will show us some of the underlying map layers that they collect as part of their catastrophic earthquake planning, and then how the UICDS incidents become the live activities that's going on, and how Diane can then see the same information that is being entered by the mobile apps that Anne's using, the WebUC data, the NICS data, and the geospatial layers that come out of Virtual USA. So all this is a three-ring circus probably doesn't do it justice, but we'll pass the baton back and forth across the airwaves here. And start now, initially, with Anne. Anne, if you would kick it off and give us a little bit tour of what happened in the Shakeout exercise by using your application.
Okay, thanks, Jim. So just as a quick little orientation so everybody knows who the Clearinghouse is and why we were doing this. We're a cooperative organization, and it was created after the 1971 San Fernando earthquake because there are a lot of organizations and researchers doing similar work, and everyone realized that if we work together, we could reduce duplication of effort and extend our limited resources. So we welcome any scientist, engineer, seismologist, economist, or any professional that arrives in the affected area to share information. And the Clearinghouse will activate anywhere in California for an earthquake magnitude 6 or greater. So since every earthquake is a different roll of the dice, the participants are different for every earthquake. And so along the top here, these are the managing founding partners of the Clearinghouse, the California Geological Survey, Earthquake Engineering Research Institute, Cal OES, Seismic Safety Commission, and the USGS. And then these are all of the participants, not even all of them, these are just some of the participants from our exercise, our Shakeout exercise. And this is a deployment diagram. This is showing all the UICDS cores, the different groups that participated, connected applications. That's a brief overview of what happened for how this information sharing happened. So now I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to switch over to Spot On Response. So hopefully you can all see this. So there were the scenario was a magnitude 7.9, 1906 type earthquake. And so these are the incidents that were created using spot-on response and being shared through usage to all the other partners out there. And we have a lot of information about spot-on response. We have documentation, and we have a YouTube video, so I'm not going to go into any of that. I just really want to give you a tour of the data and how it was used. So first of all, to get oriented, here's me. I'm sitting over in Hayward. And so let's see, let's zoom in. And when the earthquake happens, incidents are going to start being reported in from all over. People look out their window, they're going to see something, they're going to start reporting in, and that's how some of these pins start showing up on the map. And now, as a liquefaction earthquake geologist, I'm going to go try to figure out where I should be going to best use my time and talent. So, if I wanted to head back, I live in the city, so I'd want to head back. So, if I start looking at, let's look at some of these Walgreens incidents, I can click on the icon, and it'll bring up information about that facility. It shows, the status, no power, damage level, none. I can try some other ones. Here's closed, no power, but this one says damage level moderate. So already I know that, this is an incident that I don't need to go visit because there's nothing that I, as a geologist, need to respond to. I look at some of these other ones. Okay, now here's one that says, Walgreens is closed, there's no power, and there's heavy damage. So already I've learned something about the situation. And these, of course, Walgreens, it's a pharmacy. This is one of our partners in private industry, and certainly after an emergency, medical supplies and prescriptions, those are going to be things that are really important, people are going to need. So this would be a location that would be a high priority in terms of need, and also it's a place where I can go and do something useful. So that's one. Let me go and show you some, PG&E incidents. So I'm opening up our filter here, and I'm going to filter. I'm just going to show just PG&E incidents. Now I've changed my view a little bit. So all I want to see now, instead of all the pins on the map, I just want to see the PG&E incidents. And you can see I'm down here, and some of these pins are showing up are red. And that means that those are near me, and these are things that I could get to efficiently, quickly, and could probably report in on. So I can click on that, and I can find out, okay, this is something I don't want to look at because it's a power outage. So, and it's they're warning to stay away. So that's also information. We want to direct clearinghouse partners, stay out of the way of emergency responders. So having that kind of information is also really important. So that's some of the information out from PG&E. And if I go over here and I click one of these incidents, I can even get more information. You can click on that, details. And you see it even gives me, shows me where I am and how to get to that location. And there's just some information about that. And let's see, why don't we, I'm going to go back and turn off my filters so I can see everything again.
Hello, I'm signing in and the password does not work.
Yes, if you'll use password UICDS2012, that will get you in.
Okay, so I'm going to go up here to check on this one. This is the Oakland Fire Rescue Staging Area. This is one of our emergency response partners. And if I look at that incident, bring up a little bit more information, there's also information about a chlorine leak, and they've come up with a plume model, and I can see that. And if I click on the pin there, then I can also see information that that they're developing about this model. So our different partners are contributing different types of information. We all have different roles. We have different responsibilities, and you can see there's a variety. The information that is being reported in reflects those different roles, but it's useful to everybody. I need to know that as a geologist, stay away from that area. Even though there's probably some landslides I want to look at, it would be safer to stay out of it. So that's another way that the information is being used. Let's see. I also want to go to, let's go over to Treasure Island here. So here's an incident we have. It's a geotechnical incident. This is liquefaction. Okay, so this is my bread and butter. This is something I would be interested in. So if I were out here when the earthquake happened, I would look around and using the mobile tool, spot on a mobile device, either a phone or a tablet, I can create this incident and I can share that information out. And then so then I want to go and maybe go back to San Francisco. And when I'm on my way, I find out, oh well, the brand new bridge is functioning, but the on-ramps and off-ramps are closed. So I'm kind of stuck out here. Now, in the old days with the Clearinghouse, when the Clearinghouse first started, to be able to share information out, I would have to actually make my way to a physical Clearinghouse location and bring my notebook, my paper notebook, and draw my maps and put those on the wall. So it could be, at the end of the day where that information would be getting out. Whereas now we can use the mobile tools, this new technology, and even though I personally might be stranded out on Treasure Island, I can still share that information out. I can still provide useful information about what's happening around me, even though I can't get to a physical location. So that's where the concept of the virtual clearinghouse is really important to what we're doing. And
let me just interrupt to let anybody who's just come on the call know that the password to get into the WebEx is UICDS2012. Apologize for that. Back to you.
Okay, thanks. So I mentioned these incidents come in from our different partners, and you're going to see more about that. But I can also create an incident. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create one on the fly for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use set location. And I'm going to come in here to, let's see, Fifth and Bryant was an area that was heavily damaged in 1906. So I'm going to set my location there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see it. And then I'm going to use the green button, and I'm going to say it's an incident, and it's ground failure. And I'm going to call it San Francisco. And I'm going to do a spell check there and submit that.
All the travel forms that we've got are...
Wait a second there to...
If you would put your phones on mute, we won't hear the back talk, please.
And it's just taking a minute to upload. There we go. So that was successful. I can close that out. And it's going to refresh. And now you can see that incident that I just created just shows up there. So that's a way that I can create information. You see my location changed, and so the pins that are red changed. So before I was down in the South Bay, and the pins around me down there were red, and now I've moved up to San Francisco, and it's showing the pins around me in San Francisco that are nearby. So UICDS also collects information from other sources. Some of it's done automatically. So, for instance, one of our partners is, we have the NASA JPL, and they have a lot of products that are created instantly after, or almost instantly after an earthquake. Find that incident. They have models that are generated when the earthquake happens. A shake map is generated by the UICDS, and that triggers data products produced by the NASA team. So I'm going to show you a couple of those. Just zoom out a little bit. So, for instance, let's go to the tilt map here, main shock tilt map. And I hit that, and now you see, zoomed in a little bit too much. So this is showing displacement vectors from the earthquake, and here is the trace of the fault that ruptured. So that's, and you can still see the incident soon, so you can overlay layers of information. So that's one. Another one that I can show you. That was from the eDecider team. And the NASA, let's see, the ARIA, let's try the main shock interferogram. This one here. Let's show that one. Here's another one. So this is another one showing relative displacement. So for those of you who aren't familiar, this is the Pacific plate. It's moving north relative to the North American plate. So you can see that the movement is different on both sides of the fault. So again, that's really useful information showing, the deformation, patterns throughout regionally, which could have, is important for our partners like DWR who have water conveyance structures. So they need to know, how is the regional deformation going to affect their structures. And then we also have some static information that comes in. So we have, for instance, let's see, one of our partners is the California Department of Public Health, and they manage water supply information, and so they provided some water boundary data. And you can see, it's a little bit hard to show it to see, but there are these polygons, these beige polygons, but I can click on that, and I can see information about it. I can see, what the local district is, where the information came from, contact information. So again, that's really useful information. Reports come in, you can see that information overlaid on top of the information that's being provided by others. So all this is happening at the same time. Everybody's submitting this information at the same time, and we're able to use it. Let me show one more. Let's see, so let me zoom out and go down. I'm going to go back to the South Bay. With earthquakes and oops. I'm going to reset my view here. With earthquakes and other incidents, the situation changes. So with earthquakes, there are aftershocks, and that can change the situation. So this instance here is Del Val Dam, and so I can click on that and see that there have been several updates. So somebody went out and visited this location, and they provided an initial report and saying that there's a breach in the dam, so they posted some pictures of it. And then over time, they've gone back, and you can see now that dam failure has progressed. So now we have an update of what that situation looked like. And you can go back again, and, it actually has failed. So you can see progressive, you can go back to locations, and you can keep updating it, and everybody has a much better understanding of what that incident looks like through time. And then finally, so all of this information is available on a viewer and on a map, but what we also want to be able to do, you can also do, is download that information, and you can do some really detailed custom analytics. So I want to show you one of the products that was made by one of our partners, Phil Balin out in Walnut Creek. And so this is we'll go up to his incident here, and he created a really nice product. So he took the City of Walnut Creek vulnerable population data, and he used the Cal OES ArcGIS Online, and he was able to produce a custom product that's useful for what he's doing, and then share that back out. So if there are other areas, so say, Berkeley has, a vulnerable population, and they're looking for beds, and they need to know where facilities are that they can evacuate, they can look at this product that Walnut Creek has put together as information about resources, and they can start making decisions about that. And you can see over here, these are some of the pieces of information that Phil was able to bring in and put together on this map. So that's just one. This is just a brief overview of how the Clearinghouse is using these tools and this information to help us respond to earthquakes. So now I'm going to hand it back over to Jim. Are you on mute?
Hi. Thank you very much, Ann. Great walk through and I think all of you will agree, an amazing set of data that is in there, and you've just scratched the surface of it. As Ann said, one of the ways that we move that data into there to be viewed by all the different applications is WebEOC. That is what the California Office of Emergency Services use. And we're going to go over to Daphne Harrell now, who I think is going to operate the WebEOC tool and show you how that works together and how some of that information was getting into Daphne. Here we're taking a look at one instance of WebEOC. It's not the one, the specific one that California uses, but you can see right off the top there, and I'll turn it over to you at this point, Daphne, but you can see right off the top that there's the incident that Anne created just a few seconds ago. So WebEOC has now consumed that. And Daphne, off to you to give us a little tour.
Okay. So as you can see, Anne's incident was shared through users, and now is being shared to WebEOC. And this is the incident that Anne has just created. And through that, this is what the details of the incident that Anne has just created. And so I guess we can create an incident on WebEOC also, and that will be shared to through users and to other applications. Let's see.
While we're waiting there, anybody who's on and is looking for the password to get onto the WebEx, it is UICDS 2012.
I thought I had one created. Oh, here it is. All right. So I'm going to type a quick description here. This is a California Lafayette Dam failure incident. Water reaching the for them. Save that. And as you can see, it created on WebEOC. So now we can use a viewer like a Google Earth, which consumes the user's KML feed, and to view that incident. I just refreshed the KML feed. All right, it finally got refreshed, and we're looking for probably both Anne's incident and the incident I just created. This is Anne's incident, California, San Francisco incident, and this is the one that I just created on WebEOC. And we can double-click that incident, and it will bring you to the location. So back to you, Jim. Jim, I think you're on mute.
Thank you very much for pointing that out. I enjoy talking to myself sometimes. So you've seen how UCIDS sits in the background. You saw the spot-on response application that would be a mobile app out there. WebEOC, that's a operations center application. both of them serving a different audience and a different purpose, but all of them collecting information that now becomes part of the common operational data that sits inside the UICDS, and as a result is able to be pushed out to each other one. So we're now going to move over to Jared Pullen, and he's going to be operating the NICS. And Bob, have you joined us? Bob Dupes? Jared, are you there?
Yep, this is Jared.
All right, Jared. Well, you're going to gain control. Chip's going to hand that to you in a second. And we'll then be able to see the WebUC, and Bob was going to join us. And if not, I'm going to ask Jared to sort of talk your way through it. Bob was having some problems with a Java download that had just taken place on his computer a minute ago.
So Jared, you have presenter capabilities. If you will share your application or desktop, the rest of us can see it.
Okay, sharing now.
There's a little bit of a delay, but looks like we're on track. Got it.
Okay, so you can see that the incidents created earlier showed up on NICS. We have the Lafayette Dam failure and the CA San Francisco liquefaction. And so I can also go ahead and create an incident. We'll put it over to the state of California. So that incident has been created, and we can go over to the UICDS console, and we should be able to see that show up, which is right here.
And what you're looking at right now is the UICDS admin console. It's sort of the internal view where you peek into the guts of the UICDS core, and you can see all the incidents over on the left-hand side. And Jared's pulling up the specific data that has been entered as a result of pushing that information out from NICS. So that's something as an end user, you're never going to see that interface, but it's something that the core administrator has to check on the core and sort of observe the process. And we in the development cycle use that to see how quickly we can move data around. Back to you, Jared.
Yeah. And Jared, this is Paul from MIT Laboratory. Just to provide some additional context, NICS is the next generation incident command system, which is sponsored by DHS Science Technology and developed here at the laboratory. It's used numerous organizations across the country, but predominantly in California by about 200 different organizations. So just want to provide that general context in terms of the tools that are being discussed here.
Yeah, thank you. And I believe Bob Toops just joined up. Did you get on, Bob?
Yeah, finally. Oh,
okay, all right. Good. So Bob can help guide through, as Bob is part of the NICS users group, former CAL FIRE operator out there, and he can provide some context to Jared's demo. So just jump in as you wish, Bob.
Okay.
So, back to you, Jared.
I'm still trying to get it.
Were you able to, did you want to take back over, Bob, or?
No, just keep going on. I'm still trying to get into NICS and get my desktop set up.
Okay, well, we just created an incident and showed that it populated over to the UICDS core, so.
Okay, so we've got that part. So now we're going to jump over and pass this to Tony out at Pacific Northwest Laboratories. because we got the NICS one. We'll be back to NICS in a little bit as that incident begins to unfold, and we'll take a look at more of the actual operational management of that. Hopefully Bob will be able to have all of his pieces together and be able to follow along and give us some of the operational context to that. So let's head over to Tony. We're taking a look at Tony's desktop now, and Tony had the charge, along with the MIT folks, of connecting UICDS into the virtual library, which is part of the Virtual USA tool set, and I'll just turn it over to Tony.
Hi. As part of this, for this exercise, we developed a new tool. What's on the screen now is what I guess Leidos created a while ago. It's a shapefile submitter, and we just added a tab to this tool to connect the UICDS which is all the information on the UICDS core is here on the left, to the virtual library server. Virtual library is a way to share information, I guess, in libraries. It's a library store where people can go and get information that other people have posted and want to share to them. It's another DHS product that was developed for DHS S&T. So the idea is to connect virtual library server to the UICDS core. So on the left here is all the information about the UICDS core. You can see the one highlighted here in blue is the San Francisco liquefaction one, the one that Ann created. And on the right here is just all the what are called community and events on the virtual library server. And so far, there isn't a connection between these two. So what this tool does is creates a connection to the two. So the virtual library server can connect to the UICDS core. And so by clicking that Create C&E button, I'm making a connection between the two. As part of that, all the feeds that come off the GORSS and KML feeds that come off the core become part of the community and events that get created on the right-hand side here. When this comes back, I will show you the connection between the tool and the virtual library console. So here's the virtual library console. It does lots of different things, including it has a flex viewer, which I'll show you in a minute. But the idea is that you have lots of different libraries that you share with people, and they can go there and get those links, get those documents, and look at them. They have a map feature too. Let's see. This can take a little while to make the connection. So let me see here. Getting there. My computer always slows to a crawl when it's sharing versus WebEx, via WebEx. Oops. Apologize for that. It should come up here in a second. There it goes. So you can see down here at the bottom, I've connected that San Francisco incident to the San Francisco liquefaction one right here. So if I go to virtual library.
And actually, while you're making that move, I just want to point out this is an administrative function. Those of you who are end users would never see this happen. This is setting up the connection between the virtual library and UICDS so that as you are creating any of your incidents or field observations or anything out there, they are automatically being shared between UICDS and the virtual library. So an administrative function that you won't normally see unless you're a UICDS or a virtual library administrator.
So if you look here, these are now, there are 16 different feeds that come off the core that are now connected into the virtual library. They're added automatically. You don't need to worry about them, but if you open one, it shows you the connection to the feed. Let's see. This one. So here's the two feeds that have come so far off that feed. And I can show you those on the Flex Viewer. It comes with Virtual Library. I'll have to log back into.
This is Paul Reisner. I support the Virtual USA program, and while Tony's doing this, I just want to say that that catalog of data feeds, the intention is you would be pulling those feeds into your own viewer, and they were in formats that support multiple viewers. So whether it's a GORSS or a KML, those are standards that are supported by many of the viewers out there. So if you were going to be a support agency, whether it's within California or maybe Arizona were to be providing a support to this, and you wanted to see what was going on, from that catalog of data feeds that you find in the virtual library, you can pull those feeds into your own viewer and your own common operating picture from which you're probably used to working from. So the viewer that Tony's pulled up is a viewer that we do provide within the virtual library, but it's a way to display and to preview the data that's being stored within the virtual library, not intended to replace your own common operating picture. Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, good point, Paul, and I'll build on that one because those are now available to people who have no idea that there's a UICDS anywhere in the world. What they do is see, hey, I see some incidents here from California that's a liquefaction, so I'm interested in it. So I'm on a completely isolated, never thought of this process before, common operating picture. The virtual library enables that connection to go to a completely unthought of ever before UICDS connection, and thus bring together two information, an information source and an information display that never ever thought to talk to each other until they were discovered this way. Now back to you, Tony.
Okay. So there's all the different feeds that I talked about, and if I click on this one, it now loads. You can see the data point here on the right. So that's the location of the. Let me get out of the way. So that was the location of the liquefaction zone that she created a little while ago. So you can see that it's on this map as well. And there's other ones that wherever there was a feed that now there's something there, it will load it. If there isn't anything, it will. All of these are going to be right on top of each other. But there are no committed resources, so there's no content for those. So that's the Flex Viewer. One other thing you can do with Virtual Library is you can share new information in this CNE now. So I can create a KML, KMZ link. Let me pull up one that I already know about. Let's do the landslides. So I put in the link here. I usually want to share, well, in this case, I want to have them see the true URL. I give it a title. Anything with a red dot there is required. This is land. So landslides. I need to say when it's available. So it's available today, available indefinitely, and the update is daily. Continue with that. So one other thing I need to do is share it with all the different roles that are available in Virtual Library so that everybody can see it. The other thing I need to do is share it with my specific community and event. So I go down here and select the right one, which is liquefaction. Click that button. You see it shows up over here. Continue. This gives you an overview of what you've just done. If there were any errors, they would show up here and you could correct them. Then I can say I'm going to share it and upload it. And then if I go back to my list of links in that CNE, where'd it go? Oh, right there. You can see that one now has shown up. If you show the core the user console again, and I do a refresh here. It actually can take up to a minute. The tool polls every minute to see if there's any new information, so it may not quite be here yet. We have to wait a minute. But what it shows up as is a new map context layer in the map view context in the incident that was created. And there it is. So you can see I added it in virtual library. Now it's on the core, and then it can get shared out to NICS or whoever wants to look at that map view context. And I believe...
Very nice, Tony. Very nice. So we've got now, not only are we sharing from UICDS the availability of UICDS feeds to go out to any common operating picture and a viewer, sharing that through the virtual library, but as others participating in that particular incident identify additional geospatial layers that they want to share out with everyone, they now move back into UICDS simply by going through the little process that Tony did to assign them out as part of the C&E. They go back into UICDS. They become part of the Open Geospatial Consortium map context layers, and we'll take a look at those later on, much like Ann was showing you the layers before from the NASA maps. They were part of this, as well as the other specific infrastructure that she showed. They all became part of UICDS and shared through UICDS in this same process. So thank you, Tony. Let's swing on back to NICS now, as you see where this information continues to build around the earthquake. And go back to NICS, and Jared, you'll operate, and Bob will give us a description of some of the map notations that you'll be able to make as part of that NICS room in the actual operation. And Bob, while we're coming on, if you'd like to do any introduction, take it away.
Yeah. Good morning. This is Bob Coops from Riverside, California, part of the NICS user community here in California. Can you see the NICS map on your webinar? Who's presenting now, Jim? I'm sorry.
Did you want to run it, Bob?
Yeah. Why don't you, Jared, you just go ahead and go to the CAMIT link in UICDS incident.
Okay, can you guys see the map?
Yes.
Yes, we can. What have you done? Interesting. Hang on, I'm trying to... Okay, Jared, what we're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and create a new room so we can bring this in. I'm going to call this room Berkeley. Create the room within the incident. And now I'm going to share from my map information that's been gathered from the field. Zoom down on the incident. So what we have, we've had first responders out in the field responding to the emergency, and they've used NICS to mark up the information that's being displayed within the Berkeley room. NICS is an organizational, automated command and control organizational tool that has both the ability to spatially reference and mark up information using symbols and drawing tools. But it also has text-based, a number of other tools that are available to us. So what this should do is when I move this information into the Berkeley map, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but this information should be now coming from out of NICS, being sent to the UICDS core and available elsewhere through this process. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. Incidents have come to NICS from the UICDS core, and what you're doing now are being shared out as part of the map context documents as they're geospatial overlays. Exactly right.
Okay, so what I'm going to try and also do is I'm going to go within NICS. So this is not a NICS demonstration, but we have a wide variety of visualization tools. We have a number of drawing tools and symbols and other things to help generate incident context. But I'm going to go over to our data feed, and I'm going to go out to the and search through the virtual library process. And see if we can find the data that Tony provided to the virtual library core. So the common library, my library, Tony, you don't have the ability to send that directly to me, do you?
Send the link. Do you want the link?
Yeah,
the link. The name was Landslide Bay Area.
Bay Area.
Yeah, and while that's going on, Jared's putting some notations on the map. And feel free to put any more icons on there or draw a polygon if you want to, Jared, because as those are being done, they're being shared back out through UICDS, and in a minute we'll be able to see whether we can see them on other locations as well.
So what you can't see is on my desktop is I've tried to go to the virtual library and find the data that Tony posted, and currently I'm unable to find it exposed to me. And I believe this is just due to the development side of this has not been fully completed. So let me try again. I'm searching to see if I can find a folder with Bay Area. Tony, is it one word caps? Is it this Bay Area?
I think it's because
it's Landslide Bay Area is what I mean.
It's in the CNE, not in the Common Library.
Yeah, Bob,
okay.
You're Paul Ratchet. You move off from this piece because I don't think you're part of the community of that.
Okay, very good.
So I think we've got enough drawing up there now. So how about if we swing back to Google Earth? Let's do that one first, and then I'll get set up on Spot On Response. So if Chip or Daphne, if you're prepared to grab control and take a look at Google Earth. All right, looks like we're going to Chip's meeting. If somebody's talking, you're on mute.
No, you're seeing my desktop, and I'm looking for Jared. Is that what we're looking for, Jared's incident?
Yes, the CAMIT UICDS incident.
Okay, and this is the exactly what was drawn on NICS.
All right, very nice. And if you want to pass it off to me, I will find that same incident.
Let's see. Stop sharing. Here we go.
All right, I still seem to be viewing yours. And okay. And if somebody can pass me control. There we go. All right. So I am now the presenter. I'm going to bring up my spot-on response app here. You saw all this with Ann earlier. We've got actually there's the CA liquefaction that she entered originally. I'm going to come down here and find the CA MIT incident. You see that we've got, I happen to be located here in San Francisco, but it gives me driving directions out to that location. And if I come down here, I've got a couple of additional entries, one of them being indicated there as a map item. And we see here, now, on my mobile app, I know where this roadblock is, and I know I'm going to have to pass it in order to get to that incident. We see the couple of polygons that Jared drew, the lines that are out there. And if I were heading out in that direction, would want to combine some more real-time information. And just as one quick illustration before we turn it over to Diane on ArcGIS Online, I can now bring in real-time traffic information so that I can know that if I'm going to be making that trip, I've got a roadblock that I have to go, but I also have the real-time traffic associated with that as well. So all these different sources being able to be pulled together, shared on each individual application that anybody is preferring and expert in. So Chip, if we can move this over to Diane, and Diane's now going to take us on our last leg of our journey to ArcGIS Online. So do I need to stop sharing? All right, I stopped sharing. Heading back to Chip, who's going to pass it to Diane.
She's got it, so if she shares her desktop or application, we should.
All right. Okay, I'm on, and I shall share everything. Oh. Hang on 1 second. Here.
Mastering WebEx is often the most difficult thing I have to do during any of these presentations.
Okay.
There we go. We're starting to see some action.
All right. So this is the information that we put into the situational map on ArcGIS Online. And so again, zooming in and out, more and more information is seen. Set up some bookmarks.
Wait, Diane, we're only seeing the green screen. Are you sharing the other? You have two monitors up there?
Yeah.
There we go. Now we got it.
Okay. It's there?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. So a lot of the data is coming from the Bay Area Catastrophic Plan, where we have elements out there that can be hopefully expected to be used in terms of the points of distribution, base camp, staging areas, whatnot, in addition to all of the activity that's going on out in the field that we're seeing through the UICDS RSS feeds. So I just basically been monitoring the situation, looking at the information coming in when we select on these. Oops, okay, no, I lost where that one was, Jim. All right, okay, let's see what's going on here. Oh, that should be right. Of course, you get to the demonstration part and it doesn't act as expected. Jim, what did you say about Ann, the SMIP station?
What one were you looking for?
one here, the SNP station. Okay, we're having some technical difficulty here. For some reason, Jim, now I'm not seeing the hyperlink for the JPEG.
Actually, I think what you want to do is use the link that's above that one that you have checked there. You're looking for the Mount Parnassus? Was that the one you wanted to show?
Well, I had the one at the SNP station, the view of the SNP station, and I thought this was the one up north here. So.
Try using, on the left-hand side, try clicking on that one, yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is there a password for the access to the webinar? UICDS isn't working for me.
It's UICDS 2012. Well, you know, I had it over on the other monitor, Jim, and it was working. Let me see if the... No, same thing. Hang on a second. Turn this one off.
Part of the purposes, this is Anne, part of the purpose of this exercise, too, is for us to come up with best practices and understand the concept of operations. This is all, for the Clearinghouse, I keep saying that we're going from the Stone Age to jetpacks overnight. And, you know, the technology has been very straightforward, but we've never used anything like this before. So there's a learning curve for us in figuring out how to use it effectively.
And using ArcGIS Online is actually very new to us, and we're finding more and more functionality. So that's why this is a little rusty and behind the curve. But this is something that we have not been able to see other outside information inside our viewer. And again, we look at, you know, monitoring the situation. Okay, I got to get that link back, Jim, so hang on.
All right, well, how about if we open it up to questions now while Diane is doing this, and then you can, we'll keep watching, and when you're ready, we'll jump back to you. But let's open up to questions. You've had lots of pieces here that you have seen flow through, starting with the mobile app that the Clearinghouse uses, how they collect geospatial information and then use that as the basis for going out and doing field observations. Those field observations were then pushed back out and able to be shared on Google Earth and through to WebEOC, which in turn was able to put a number of incidents that come from the overall Operations Center management, push that out. NICS, which is very much a next generation incident command tool, monitoring incidents, and then doing a very nice job of mapping and documenting the effects and response to a specific incident out there. All that shared back out through the virtual library and directly into UICDS to be able to push that information out again to mobile apps, Google Earth, and here we see ArcGIS Online. So with that as an overview, thoughts that any of you have, questions that you'd like to address? Oh, and Diane got it, so let me hold on here. We've got, Diane has gone to that Presidio station, and the photograph that was previously shown was now being able to be shown and shared out and pulled up through ArcGIS Online. So that combination of being able to use real-time, highly transactional information with the catastrophic planning information, so the intersection between the two and then add field observations to it, and have everybody reading off of the same proverbial sheet of music, is exactly where this demonstration and the true operations Clearinghouse are going right now as well. So, let me open it up to any questions as we roll into the last minute or two of our activities. Questions, comments, thoughts, and Diane, you can continue to poke away there while we talk.
Well, one of the interesting things I wanted to see, because this was raised by, I can't remember, but I think it was a responder group, that about being able to select on one of these items and see floor plans, because first responders and tactical, practices, they're going to want to be able to see that. And Phil, who has access to such information for the city of Walnut Creek, I believe, had added one to bookmarks for the library, I believe it was. And I really want to make the point that's really critical, because, like I said, putting dots on the map and having information, really takes getting the right people networked with. Obviously, there's a lot of people who don't want to share floor plans because of security issues, but if it is, limited by role, as you saw in Virtual USA, that can be done the same way in WebEOC and other applications. This can be made available to the people on the ground, and that's one of the things I think where GIS professionals, not normally connected to the emergency response arenas in various places, we leverage those networking to say, hey, who has it, can you get it for us, and create those sharing agreements, and then make sure these things are available for such purposes when they're posting incidents from the field.
Good concluding comment there, Diane, because the whole purpose is to share. Everyone has an agreement if you want to limit that sharing, but the idea behind the movement of the data that you've seen today is people who have a trusted partnership with others who are the consumers of their information. And as a result, that is quickly able to enhance the ability of anyone to be able to go out and make the critical decisions that they have to. So with that, let me see whether they're up. There comes the floor plan up. Let me ask whether there are any questions.
Jim, this is David Coggeshall with the Golden Gate Safety Network.
Hi, David.
Just to reiterate that we're working very diligently on trying to provide floor plans for schools in the Bay Area, specifically in Marin, Palo Alto, and Menlo Park. Additionally, I had a quick question on NICS. When the polygon was drawn, it seemed to have a really jagged edge. Is that because it's following the elevation of the ground underneath?
No,
David, the display within Google Earth, I believe, is because it was modeled in a 3D setting. I don't think everybody saw the work that was done in the Berkeley room of the incident being carried across and viewable in other applications. I think there was some simple drawing done that came across, and I'm trying to understand why the information, the symbols, and much more elegant drawing that was done did not come across.
Well, actually, we saw the one that Jared did. He had symbols, had polygons, overlays. So we'll go back and take a look at yours. Maybe we can do this another time and just really focus on some of the NICS capabilities. So any other questions?
David, this is Paul by my laboratory. I'm happy to talk to you about that offline, but basically all you saw were lat long points that were communicated. And Bob, you were in a different room. That's why your features didn't come across.
Okay.
Right. Any parting comments from anybody? And let me say thank you to all of our technology participants, all of our end-user participants. This was a definite, to borrow a phrase of Paul Bremeyer, this is a definite display of the art of the possible, and the focus now needs to be on how do we turn the concept of operations that is currently employed by all these different agencies into a common one that includes information sharing so that this fits into everybody's daily structures and emergency response structures. So, Diane, you're still sharing your desktop. Let me just say thanks to everybody. Really appreciate it. Excellent show. And I think you can all see where the future lies. Thank you, everybody.